The victim, Flavia, 19 years old, daughter of Gaius Publicius, lanista of the Ludus Magnus in Rome. The accused, Marcus Attilius, 3x class gladiator, undefeated champion, crowd favorite. Here are the facts preserved in the Digest of Justinian, a collection of Roman legal cases compiled in the 6th century but documenting earlier trials. The crime: found dead in the gladiator quarters the morning after a victory celebration during a particularly brutal January cold snap. The physicians report, yes. Romans did forensic examinations, documented strangulation, defensive wounds on her forearms showing she fought back, evidence of violent assault before death. The ligature marks on her throat showed she'd been strangled from behind by someone with the hand strength of a trained fighter. Her hyoid bone was fractured, the small bone in the throat that breaks only under sustained pressure. Open and shut case. Marcus Attilius' defense was 3 words: right of reward. He claimed that as a champion gladiator, he had customary access to the Ludus grounds after victories, that Flavia was present in the barracks, that therefore her presence constituted implied availability. Now here's what nobody tells you about this case. Flavia wasn't enslaved. She wasn't a sex worker. She was a free Roman citizen, and her father owned the gladiator who killed her. If any case should have resulted in execution, it was this one. The verdict came down after 3 days of deliberation in February 167 CE. Marcus Attilius was found guilty, but his sentence was compensation payment to Gaius Publicius for destruction of property value. Not murder, property damage, because the court ruled that Gaius had lost economic value in 2 ways. His daughter, who could have been married off advantageously, and his champion gladiator, whose reputation was now damaged. Attilius paid 15,000 sesterces, about 2 years' salary, for a skilled craftsman. Then he went back to fighting. The Pompeii graffiti shows he remained popular. Attilius, slayer of men and women alike, written as a boast. Not a condemnation. The verdict reveals Rome's true values. A free Roman woman was worth exactly 15,000 sesterces. A gladiator's earning potential? Priceless. But this case sparked something Rome never expected, because 2 years later, in the frozen March of 169 CE, at the Capua Ludus, the oldest gladiator school in the empire, the women decided they'd had enough. March 13th, 169 CE, the Capua Ludus, the same facility that once trained Spartacus, wakes to an unprecedented sight. The kitchen is empty. The laundry is abandoned. The bath attendants are gone. Every woman who worked in the Ludus has disappeared overnight. They haven't fled into the March cold, they barricaded themselves in the grain storage building, one of the few structures with its own heating system, and they've made demands. This inscription, fragmented, deliberately damaged, barely readable, preserves their words. We, the women of the Ludus, refuse service until contracts guarantee our protection from destroyed and oversight by destroyed. The rest is chiseled away, but we can reconstruct what happened from multiple sources. The Historia Augusta, a collection of imperial biographies, mentions troubles at the Capua Ludus in the 9th year of Marcus Aurelius's reign. One sentence. One single sentence in thousands of pages. But here's what we can piece together from financial records, local magistrate reports, and architectural evidence. Day 1, March 13th. Women refuse to work. Lannister sends gladiators to forcibly remove them, the women who blockaded the doors using grain sacks and furniture. Standoff begins in the freezing March weather. They know they can't survive outside, but they've chosen the one building they can defend. Day 2. March 14th. Word spreads to Rome. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor who wrote about Stoic virtue, is briefed. He sends a representative to negotiate, not out of compassion, but because the ludus has stopped functioning and upcoming games in Rome depend on Capua-trained gladiators. Day 3. March 15th. The women present formal demands through a crack in the barricaded door, written contracts guaranteeing protection from assault, third-party oversight, the right to appeal to authorities outside the ludus system. They have 3 leaders speaking for them. One of them is named Secunda. We know this from a single graffito scratched near the ludus by someone sympathetic. Secunda led. Secunda died. Marcus Aurelius was genuinely conflicted. In his Meditations, Book 11, written around this time, he contemplates, when you wake in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly, but I have seen the beauty and goodness in their souls. Was he writing about the revolt? We can't know for certain, but the timing is exact, March 169 CE. He issued an unprecedented decree, not what the women asked for, but something Lannister now required to register all staff with local authorities. A magistrate would conduct annual inspections. Women could file complaints with Adar's local officials without permission from the Lannister. Minimal reforms, but reforms nonetheless. But here's the cost. The revolt's 3 leaders were executed as examples. We know this from Capua's municipal budget showing expenditure for execution of 3 female slaves, dated March 18th. 169 CE, 3 days after the standoff ended. Secunda's name survives in that one graffito only. I don't even know her real name. Secunda just means the second one, possibly indicating she was the second woman sold to the ludus that year, or the second daughter in her family before enslavement. But here's the twisted victory. Documented cases of assault in gladiator facilities dropped by 60% over the next 3 decades, according to Adal reports from Rome, Capua, and Pompeii. By the 4th century, Christian influence began shutting down the games entirely. In a horrifying way, this nightmare helped end the system that created it. But here's the part that should make you furious. Modern historians have catalogued 72 ancient sources about gladiator combat techniques. We have entire books about sword angles and shield grips. We have 3 sources, 3 that mention these women at all. Every year, 6 million tourists visit the Colosseum. They imagine the glory, the combat, the spectacle. They don't think about the women in the barracks below, the ones shivering through winter nights in unheated chambers, the ones whose bones we found buried in mass graves, the ones who led a revolt that history tried to erase. And that's by design, because Rome's legacy is built on selective memory. We remember the engineering, the law, the philosophy, the military genius. We forget that all of it rested on layers of exploitation. The arena was just the visible part. The real violence happened in the cold stone chambers beneath, in the hidden rooms behind false walls, in the winter nights when no one was watching. These women, Secunda, Flavia Publicia, the unnamed Pompey skeleton. The 16 buried at Capua had zero legal rights, zero protection, and for 000 years, zero historical voice, until now. The 2014 Carnuntum excavation gave them back their story. The iron restraints still bolted to those walls, the wear patterns on those implements. The shattered amphorae, these are their testimony when written records stayed silent. The Capua mass grave discovered in 2007, the Pompey skeleton with her defensive fracture wounds, the legal records of Attilius's 15,000 sesterces fine for property damage. These fragments survived despite comprehensive efforts to erase them. If this is what escaped Rome's deliberate suppression, imagine what didn't survive. So here's my question. Should we keep sanitizing this history? Should Hollywood keep making gladiator movies that erase Secunda's revolt? Flavia's murder trial? The winter nights in those barracks? These women's suffering was real. Their resistance was real. Their names deserve to be remembered alongside the champions who killed them. If you want more historical reality that destroys comfortable myths about the past, subscribe to Flow of History. We're just getting started revealing what actually happened behind the legends. The marble monuments of Rome stand on foundations of blood and winter cold. Someone needs to tell that truth.